Today we are heading over to Angkor Wat, one of the new 7 wonders of the world. And not just on any day, we're actually doing it on the best day of the year. I'm going to break it all down for you, the costs, whether it's really worth your time, and of course, give you our honest thoughts on the whole experience. It's going to be an early start, but trust me, this is going to be an amazing day, so let's get into it. Good morning, Cambodian. Hello from Siem Reap. Today is a special day for me as I'm going to be visiting something that's been on my bucket list for years, and that is Angkor Wat. And not only that, it is during the spring equinox, which is the best day of the year to see it, as the sunrise looks the best. So you may be wondering, what is the spring equinox and why is it so special? And it is so special because the sun sits on the top of the central tower during the sunrise, and it makes the whole place look amazing. So I'm hoping that we get a good view of it today and it's not too cloudy, otherwise I'll be very disappointed. It is currently 3:30 a.m, so we are knackered, and we've ordered a tuk-tuk to pick us up at 4 a.m. to try and get us to the temple at 4:30. The park actually doesn't open until 5 a.m, however we've heard that there are massive queues, especially during the spring equinox, so we have tried to get there extra early. The reason for this is so that we can get a central spot on the bridge so we can get the best photos possible of Angkor Wat. The hotel have kindly made us a breakfast box to take with us, so we're going to head downstairs now and collect that from reception and then make our way over to Angkor Wat. And we've arrived at the largest religious monument in the world, Angkor Wat, and just look at how incredible that is. We arrived this morning at around 4:30 and it was actually quite quiet, so it was really dark. Everyone had to have their torches out to actually be able to see anything because it's not floodlit at all. And we made our way to the temple, to the bridge, which is really cool to see. Once we arrived at the bridge, we then decided to try and find somewhere where it'd be great to take photos. So you don't want to go too close because then the sun never actually pops out of the top. So you want to go as far back as possible, I'd probably say, because you'll see the sun first from the back. So loads of people were stood right at the entrance. And then we waited for around an hour and a half for the sun to appear. Unfortunately, it was a little bit cloudy behind Angkor Wat, so we didn't get the best of views. And then about 2 hours after we arrived, it was when the sun finally appeared up at the top of Angkor Wat, and it looks beautiful. It is amazing, and because it's been on my bucket list for so long, I do love being here. However, I am knackered, I'm not gonna lie. It is very early that we had to get up, which isn't ideal, but I suppose you probably could have left it maybe an hour later. It's just you wouldn't have got quite a good spot on the bridge. So once a Hindu sanctuary dedicated to Lord Vishnu, this grand temple was built in the 12th century and later transformed into a sacred Buddhist site. Just look at how amazing the grounds are. It is beautiful. So it's got little lakes, it's got the big walkway all the way up to Angkor Wat. And now let's go and see if we can get inside and take a look. It is a shame that they've got lots of scaffolding and work going on here. I don't know why this is here, whether it's for a stage for something at some point, but it is a little bit of an eyesore. And so we are now inside of Angkor Wat. It is a really cool spectacle. It's kind of like the Roman baths in this section. I can imagine that being filled up with water, but it is amazing. It's just all carved out of stone. I don't know how they actually put this together because it's such an old temple, it's crazy. The temple is huge, however it is a little bit annoying that they do have all of this scaffolding everywhere. It's kind of like most old sort of landmarks. It's just got scaffolding everywhere where you can't go and see, and it just gives it a little bit of an eyesore. So the temple is basically made up of loads of these corridors, which we are walking through right now, and then loads of open areas all around. So we're just walking through here to the back side of the temple, but it does look amazing. It looks incredible, I'm not going to lie. So we're now making our way up to the centre of the temple, which is up right at the top, so I'm having to climb up some stairs to get there. But there's apparently 5 of these towers, and they basically symbolise the place where the gods used to live. There are 5 central towers which represent the 5 peaks of Mount Meru, which is the sacred centre of the universe in Hindu and Buddhist cosmology. So you can see the first one there in the centre, and then there's 4 ones around the corners. There's one obviously just behind that corridor there, but it's quite cool. It all looks a bit like Harry Potter-esque, all the corridors. You can imagine like knights in shiny armour and stuff being on either side, but it is beautiful. It's just amazing how they would have done this in the 12th century. It's crazy. So from here you get great views of the entrance, which is where we came in from, which is just over there ahead of us, and then there is loads of scaffolding going on down here around the centre, which is a little bit of a shame, but I suppose with anything that's built so a long time ago, you can expect it to fall down eventually. Going down the stairs is a lot more scary than coming up. It is actually really steep when you come down, so if you don't like heights, I wouldn't recommend doing this. The steps did look a lot steeper though, back in the 12th century. God, I wouldn't want to be the monks that work here and have to clean up. One thing we've noticed as we've been going around is that all of the statues seem to be headless. But it's really weird because the rest of the body and stuff is still there, but for some reason the heads have all been taken off. It's as if someone's like gone round and just basically smashed all the heads off the statues. But someone will have to let me know in the comments, because I don't understand why they're all headless. Or maybe it's just because the head's the bit that falls off first because it's a thin neck. I don't know. Someone will have to let me know. Look at all the intricate artwork on the walls that's still here from the 12th century. It's so impressive. And then the roof there is really cool, well designed. So the carvings actually depict heaven and hell. So in a couple of the carvings, you'll actually notice that down here on this bottom tier, people have got chains and they've been chained behind their back. And then as you go higher up the tiers towards the top end, but unfortunately the top end is pretty much unreadable now, but heaven is up at the top. But it is really cool just to see all the different carvings, which was done in the 12th century. It's amazing too how they've managed to preserve it for this long. So there is another stone carving depicting the story of the churning of the sea milk. Now I've got no idea about this story, so if you want to learn more about that, then I think Google's going to have to be your friend. Here are some more carvings on the back side, which aren't quite as impressive as they were done in the 16th century. However, it's basically a battle against a god under the name of Hell. So probably not a very nice battle to be in. So on the final wall is a battle between the Asuras and the Devas. Now I definitely would have wanted to be part of the Diva side because I'm such a diva. But basically, one thing that Beth was talking about was when we actually arrived here, there were actually tour guides which were offering to take you around for certain prices. They sort of, well, the first one said $25, second one said $10 and stuff. And maybe we could have done that and learn a little bit more about it, but we were trying to save money as it is very expensive. And I don't think I've actually spoke about the price yet. So to actually get into here, into the national park with all of the different temples, it is $37 each. And then for the tuk-tuk for the day, it was $25. So overall, it is pretty expensive. So we decided against doing the tour. And to be honest, we've done loads of temples now, so we don't really need to hear all about the religion. Angkor Wat is really cool and impressive though, so I definitely recommend going. We're just being attacked by some sprinklers now. One second, let me just walk around here being shot from different sides. What is going on? But yeah, like I said, I definitely recommend coming here to see Angkor Wat because it's probably one of the most impressive temples that we have seen the whole trip, and definitely come to do the sunrise. Even if it's not that great a sunrise, it is worth it. Everyone's there and it's a great atmosphere, and it is beautiful once it does rise. The equinox wasn't as good as we thought it was going to be, but that is mainly because of the clouds which we saw. But we're now going to head over to our second stop, which I believe is called Bayon or Babylon. So we're going to go to that temple, which I believe has got bigger grounds, but I don't actually think the temple itself is bigger. Our next task though is to go and try and find the tuk-tuk driver. Now with so many tourists coming at the same time, I think this one might be quite difficult. But on the way back, there's also loads of shops, so you can buy like souvenirs, food if you want, drinks, there's even clothes here. So it's kind of like its own little market. We've got a lady over there already shouting if you want a cold drink or not. So yeah, we'll go look through that in a second. There is a pagoda which is actually just north of Angkor Wat too, but we are pagoda'd out, so we don't need to go and see it. But if you do want to go and see it, there is this pagoda literally just right next to Angkor Wat. We've managed to get ourselves a souvenir for Cambodia, and it's obviously got to be the Angkor Wat, so it's basically a little Angkor Wat statue. And it only came to $2, so not bad at all. We're now going to head back the same route that we actually came in because we want to see what it looks like in the light, because when we arrived it was just pitch black and there's like a few moats and stuff just outside of it, so it'd be pretty cool to go and see that. Earlier when we made our way into Angkor Wat, this was full. You basically couldn't find anywhere to sit on the ground. And now it is pretty much empty. Well, actually it's still quite busy to be fair, with people coming in right now, but the entrance looks pretty cool because we never got to see any of this on the way in. On the way out, we decided to get a couple of professional photographers to take some photos of us too, which was cool. So we got 4 for just $3, so not expensive at all. You probably could have got them cheaper, to be honest, but we thought $3 was reasonable, so we just took that. And now we are on the outside where the moat is, so we never actually got to see any of this at all on the way in. It was just all pitch black, but it looks beautiful. The grounds here of Angkor Wat. So yeah, it's been great that we've been able to come back out the exit and get to see the moat finally. In terms of how much time you need in there, so obviously all up to you, but we spent 5 hours from 4 AM till 9 AM, but we don't really need 5 hours. I think we were told to go in early because of the equinox being on today. So most days I think you could probably arrive at 5 AM, but it just takes quite a while to just walk around it all because it is so big. So I'd definitely say it'd take at least 3 to 4 hours. So we've now got back to the tuk-tuk to our breakfast, which we actually got given by the hotel. So they made us a little breakfast box each. So Beth's is vegan, so it's got an extra banana, whereas mine's got 2 eggs. But I don't really want the eggs, to be honest, either. But the banana, I'm very much looking forward to. It's basically bread, banana, marmalade by the looks of it with butter, and then a couple of eggs. So not the most impressive of breakfasts, but at least we got something. The breakfast tasted all right. It was a little bit plain, but we're now heading over to our next stop, which is Angkor Thom. But we've actually just been told about the whole tour, which is called the small tour that we're doing, and there's a bigger tour too. And there's like 4 more stops after this one. We're thinking, oh God, we could be here for a while. So the next one's the second biggest, and then the ones after that should hopefully be a little bit smaller. So from my understanding, Angkor Thom is basically the area of which the Bayon Temple is within, which is the 9-kilometre squared area, 3x3 basically. And then it's got a 12-kilometre long moat around the outside, and we're about to walk through the gate now. and then hopefully we'll get picked up on the other side and then we'll get driven by the tuk-tuk to the Bayon Temple. It is quite cool to see all of these different statues which were built in the 12th and 13th century, and then here is the gate into Angkor Thom. So there's now 1.5 kilometers to the Bayon Temple, which is in the center of Angkor Thom, but thankfully we're able to get back in the tuk-tuk who's going to drive us straight there. Here is the next stop, the Bayon Temple, which looks really, really impressive. So it's iconic for its faces. So it's got 54 different towers, which you can see. Each of them have 4 faces on. So it's got 216 faces in total. So it is a really cool temple. However, it does feel as though it is falling apart. And it was actually the last capital of the Khmer Empire. And just it is an example of the faces. I don't know if I zoom in on there, you can see the face which is just on the edge there. So yeah, it's got a face on each of the sides, and then there's 54 of these temples in total. Another cool and interesting fact about the Bayon Temple is that the Tomb Raider film and Temple Run was both inspired by this temple. So you may actually see in Tomb Raider the faces on the temple, and then in Temple Run you may see very similar aesthetics to the entrance right here. So as you know, where they takes the steals, was it a kiwi he steals? Can't remember, but he steals something and then starts running through the temple, which is really cool. It's also amazing to see nature taking back over the temple because of it being ruined for so long. So there's that huge tree directly here on the left side of the entrance, which looks like it's just growing out of the rocks. And again, for some reason, all the heads seem to have disappeared off of the bodies. So if aliens found this in millions of years, they'd be thinking that everyone's headless. So the next structure which we are walking towards right now is called the Temple of Baphuon, and it's a pyramid-like structure which is built on sand. However, it's not a great building material because due to the rain, it's basically leading to land slippages and therefore collapse of the building. And they're now struggling to prevent it from being destroyed by lots of vegetation. So you'll see like massive trees which are coming out right next to it. So all the roots are helping bring it down, which is not ideal. Loads of monkeys around here too, so it gives that vibe of Temple Run again as we make our way towards the Temple of Baphuon. More climbing to get up to the top. God, it really is tiring here. And now another climb up to the top of Baphuon Temple. The climb was worth it, absolutely knackered now, but look at the view that you get from up here. The top actually isn't that impressive though, it just looks like a pile of rocks, a bit of rubble. The temple next door to the Baphuon Temple is the Phimeanakas Temple, which is right ahead of us here. Again, it looks like it's in ruins. I don't know if you can hear all that noise in the background though, the sound of crickets. It's actually wild how many there must be, but we're basically in the middle of the jungle, so it is really cool to see all of this. But this is basically just a pile of rubbish. But again, all the heads just been smashed out by the Khmer Rouge. It is sad really that the Khmer Rouge literally just went and destroyed a whole like religion basically and just smashed up all of the different temples, and they've just never been repaired. There is also the Royal Palace and Palace Ponds and also some pagodas that you can look around whilst in Angkor Thom, but we've decided against going to those because it is getting quite hot now. So if you don't come during sunrise, do be wary that it does get quite warm walking around, especially because you're climbing up all the temples and climbing back down them. But we're now going to head back towards the tuk-tuk, hopefully get a glass of ice cold Coke or something on the way back, and then he's also got some cold water, which is good because we're getting quite thirsty right now. And then we're heading over to our next stop, which I'm not sure what it is. So as you can see, all the ones on this side have had their heads chopped off. Just a couple of heads remain. Next up is the Chau Tevoda Temple, which is just behind here, and they all look pretty much the same now. So I'm not going to look into any more information on this temple, and I won't bore you too much with talking about it. But again, it's built between the 11th and 13th century. It all does get a little bit samey, to be honest, so you probably can get away with doing just Angkor Wat and maybe a couple of other ones. But now it's getting to that point where it gets a little bit boring, and especially with the heat and stuff, we're getting quite tired and exhausted. It looks like some form of professional photo shoot is going on right now, and then there's Beth and I walking through it in a football top, looking sweaty. And then the second temple at this stop is the Thommanon Temple, which basically looks exactly the same. Just one big tower in the centre. It's more like a church, this one, to be fair. But they just all keep reminding me for some reason of the last scene, well not the last scene, but when they were fighting in Hogwarts, destroying Hogwarts in the last film. I don't know why it's just giving me those vibes. These ones don't really have any sort of second steps. You have to take just what they used to have. But it looks like you can't actually get inside because the doors are blocked off with a stone door. So that's quite interesting. I don't know how you'd actually get through that to look inside. Do, 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 do. I don't know how all these people work here because it is so hot, especially in these shops. They don't have like fans and stuff because it doesn't look like they don't have any electricity like they do in the other shops in town. And then the people there working on building scaffolding, like just how can they do scaffolding in this heat? I have no idea. But that's going to be it for this stop. So we're going to be moving on to stop number 4. But I actually have no idea what's going to be there. We're now crossing over the Siem Reap River, which barely has any water in it, and that just shows just how hot it is. And guess what's up next on our tour? Could it be? It is the Ta Prohm Temple. So yet another temple. This one does look pretty cool though, to be fair. So we might have to walk up to the top, but Beth's already told me that there's no chance that she's doing it. Another steep climb to the top. God, I have had enough of these. So when you get to the top, they're really not that impressive. It is just a Buddha there. So I suppose it is quite a lot of effort to get up to the top to lay your gift to the Buddha. God, I am knackered right now and I don't know what's going on with. But yeah, sweating. Although you do get quality views over the jungle. I suppose one perk of all these stairs is that it keeps all the monks in shape. So you may actually see a load of these metal braces around on like the doors and the windows. And the main reason for this is because it is all made of sandstone. So with the weather, sandstone isn't great. And it's all falling apart now, so they're having to put all these in. So a lot of the windows like these actually used to look like these. But all of the sandstone is just eroded away, and now it's just basically a gap. You can actually see some examples of some damage here, which has been done. So not ideal. There was a second temple at this stop, but we decided against going to that one because I think we've seen enough temples already, and I'm sure the next stop will probably be another temple. The next temple is the Ta Prohm Temple. However, we need to go for a 500-meter walk from this, which is the west entrance, to the temple, and then 500 meters to the east, where we're going to meet our tuk-tuk driver. It is getting very hot right now, but it is quite cool to just see all these temples. So this next temple, which we're about to see, was built in 1186, and as you can tell in a few minutes, it was falling down. So they actually basically plead for help to conserve all of these temples. And then India was the first country to reply and help out. So they actually helped out with Angkor Wat too, and a lot of the other temples around this area, which is quite cool. Most of the Indian people follow the same religion. There's quite a nice 500-meter walk, and thankfully there's a bit of shade too, so we're not getting too hot. There are some huge trees here too, so these must be years and years old. Just look at the size of that. Imagine if that fell on you. Don't think there'd be much chance of survival. So this is just one of the entrance gates, which was falling apart before India came and helped rejuvenate it. You can actually see the big crack there where it's almost fallen down. So here's just one example of where a tree has literally just grown through the structure and just destroyed it in its path, and it's now a huge tree, so you can imagine what the root's like underneath. But you can see with this one, it is just falling apart, so hopefully with India's support they can help to bring this one back to life. Again, yet another example of where the temple has just been taken over by nature. But I suppose that makes it a little bit cooler and more unique compared to most of the other temples, which haven't obviously been taken over. However, they are just destroying the temple completely, so eventually it will be just rocks if they don't take care of it. But just look at the size of some of these trees. You can see that they were abandoned. And then I think the Khmer Rouge, when they took over, they just left them even more abandoned and like try and restore them at all, which made it even worse. But there's just trees everywhere that are just growing out of the walls. And they're just so tall too. And I'm guessing they don't want to destroy the tree. They just want to sort of like build around it and try and work with it. I suppose that's a pretty hard task. I would definitely recommend doing that temple if you had to do any of them. That was probably one of my favourite ones, but obviously you can make that decision based off the video if you are coming to Cambodia. But we're now heading back to the tuk-tuk, so it's the east gate that we'll be leaving from. So we've just walked basically all the way through the centre of that temple and out the other side, and now heading back to see our driver. And now we're going to be making our way over to the final temple, the Banteay Kdei temples. But we're heading through the entrance right now, and then there's another walk to the temple, back to the other side. Then there's a lake apparently there too to have a look at, and then finally we will be heading back to the hotel. But if you want to, you can actually skip a lot of these temples out and you can just sort of drive straight back. You just got to ask your tuk-tuk driver. But I thought I might as well show them all, and then you can make your decision on which one you want to go to. This one, like the other one, seems to be very popular. There's quite a lot of people ahead of us which are also walking in the same direction, as you can see. Again, it's pretty much totally destroyed and you can't actually go inside of this one. So this one's more one that you just look at from the outside, and it's just got loads of scaffolding on it, and that's about it really. It seems to be a lot bigger when you walk through. I thought it was just that little bit there, but it's a huge tree there with the massive white roots at the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. just ahead. That's crazy. And the final thing to wrap up the tour, it is the lake. And he actually said you can go swimming in it. I mean, we don't really want to go swimming in it. We just want to go back to the hotel. We've got a swimming pool, so we'll probably much rather go in there. But it is a beautiful lake, great views, and a great way to end it. I feel so templed out though. Definitely won't be doing any more temples for a while. I'll say that, you watch, we'll get to Bangkok in a few days and I'll be doing another temple then. But tomorrow we've got a hot air balloon and a much more relaxed day, so we'll definitely try and keep it that way. And now we are back in the hotel room, so we feel knackered and very hungry too. In total, we paid $25.5 to the hotel, and then $5 we gave as a tip because he was really nice, friendly, telling us all about each stop. And he also provided us with water and an umbrella too, which was very nice of him. But now we're just going to rest in the room for a few hours. I think Beth might go and pop over to a restaurant because she's starving, so she might do that, but we don't know yet. But we've got a few snacks in here to eat too, like Oreos and crisps, but we want something a little bit healthier, which would be nice. So we had a few hours to rest in the room and Beth had a little nap too. And now, as you can see, it is the evening. So we are heading out for food right now. And we're going to Pub Street, which is like a well-known street here in Siem Reap for having like bars, restaurants, few food stands too. So we are looking forward to going there and hopefully it should get quite lively. And here it is, lit up in all the colours. It is Pub Street. It's nothing like the Ho Chi Minh Street with all the like strippers and stuff, but it's got loads of really nice bars and restaurants. No, thank you. And there's also loads of people like obviously trying to pull you in to all of these, but yeah, they actually all look really nice compared to the Ho Chi Minh one where like half of them are sort of like clubs and the other half are restaurants, some are bars and stuff, whereas these are all just like really nice restaurants, loads of different cuisines. So we've got like Italian, we've got Mexican, we've got pizzeria. It's really cool to be fair. For the meal this evening, we have come to the Paper Tiger, and it's actually really nice. The seats are so comfy. They've got like really nice cushions, but Beth will show you around right now. It's quite like a modern chic sort of look, but it's weird because it's all sort of based on Tintin, like on all of the menus, on just these placemats too. It's got Tintin. And so it's really strange, not too sure why. I can't remember what the dog's name is, which is going to bug me now. But we have ordered 2 cocktails tonight because they're only $2.50 each. So we've got the Angkor Wat, obviously a pun off there, and the Angkor Sunset. So it's very on theme for the day. But let's give Beth's Angkor Sunset a try to begin with and see what we think of this. That's nice. I'll see if I can guess what's in it. That is nice. I don't think I could tell you what alcohol was in that, but it's definitely got like curacao in it, like raspberry. It's all quite like yogurty, so maybe it's got a bit of pina colada, what's it called? Malibu. I think it might have some Malibu in there. I could be incorrect, but that does taste a little bit coconutty, so I reckon it's got Malibu. It tastes really nice though. And now we'll try the Angkor Wat, which doesn't quite look as appealing as the Angkor Sunset. It looks a little bit like someone's thrown up in a glass, but let's give it a try. That is nice. You can taste this. The reason I went like that is because it's got the passion fruit seeds in it still, so you can really taste the passion fruit seeds. Let me try to see if I can get anything else. It's all like mojito-y, which I'm not a massive fan of mojitos, but it is still quite nice. This one is not as minty as a mojito, but I can still taste a little bit of mint in there. But we're going to enjoy our drinks now, so we'll cheers to that, and then the food will be coming very shortly. Food has arrived and it smells and looks delicious. So we'll start off with Beth's, which is a satay tofu dish of some form. So it's basically got like rice, vegetables, tofu with satay sauce on top. And then I have got the kurma lasagna. So it's basically a Cambodian styled lasagna. So maybe it might taste pretty good. I've had nothing like it, so I thought, you know what, let's give it a try, because it was either that or a burger, and I thought I've had loads of burgers this trip, but I've not had one lasagna, so let's see what it is. My mum will be proud, because my mum loves some lasagna. I've got people trying to sell things, as you usually do when you go abroad, but let's try this out. Some weird looking garlic bread, not really too sure where they've gone with the garlic bread here. There we go. Nice and cheesy on top, which is good news. We'll get some of the sauce, see if it's anything like a lasagna. That's actually really nice. It's fairly similar to a lasagna, but it's got like more sort of like spice. It's got like, it tastes like lemongrass and stuff, which obviously they don't usually have that on a normal lasagna. So overall, I'd actually give that quite a high rating. I think I might enjoy that. But I'll let you know how much it all comes to once we have finished our food, and then we'll go and head up and down the pub street, may go to another bar, or we'll do a little bit of shopping instead. So the food came to $20, which is not too bad to be honest, and that was around £16. Overall though, we said it was a little bit meh. We've definitely had a lot better food whilst we've been here in Cambodia. We're now going to continue down a pub street looking for a second bar where we can go for one more drink before hopefully going over for some gelato. So we've come over to the Cheers rooftop bar with views over Siem Reap. I'm not going to lie, the views aren't really that amazing. There's not much to see from above. Everything you see is from down below. But we have ordered our drinks, so Beth has got herself another cocktail called the Siem Sling, and then I have got the Angkor beer, but it's a can. Unfortunately, it didn't have draft. But let's give it a try and see what we think. Oh, satisfying noise as you open the can. Definitely not as good as if you're having a draft, but still nice. A little bit warmer than I would like it. But we're just going to sit here, enjoy the views. It's getting a lot busier as the night goes on, as you can see. But we're now going to head back to the hotel. We're going to skip the gelato tonight, only because we just feel a little bit full from food. But it's been quite funny because people keep saying, oh, tuk-tuk, do you want to get a tuk-tuk? And then we'll be like, no, it's fine, thanks. And then they'll be like, oh, do you smoke marijuana? Do you want Coke? It's really funny. I don't know why the drug dealers start their sentence off with, do you want a tuk-tuk down here? So, pretty funny really. Back now, and on the way home we bought some toothpaste and hand sanitizer, which came to 11,000 rial, so I'll add that onto our running total. So I thought toothpaste would be quite expensive here for some reason, and it's not. It's just basically the same price as it is in the UK. But it is now time for bed, so we've had a great day, a very long day, and I am absolutely knackered, so can't wait to get to sleep. But tomorrow should be even more exciting as we are going up in a hot air balloon for the first time. So if you do want to see that, do make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you are new, as all the vlogs will be coming out on the channel very shortly. And I'll see you all in tomorrow's.